So I'm glad you can join me. My name is Marcus. This is Discover Ignite, and today I want to talk to you guys about failing, right? Now, we always have different moments in our life where, there could be a big event that we might actually be building up to, and then, we fail and we get discouraged, and, we don't want to deal with it because we essentially just mark that failure as how the rest of our attempts will be, right? As opposed to looking at it from a different angle. And failures are part of nature, right? Failures help us learn the way the world works. And I think a lot of times, we fail to remember that, especially if you look back on our lives, right? When we're kids, we failed all the time, right? When you were trying to walk, you're trying to learn to walk, when you're trying to learn to speak, you fail multiple times. And when you try to read and write, when in the beginning you fail, right? It takes multiple attempts before you actually get it right. And we fail to remember that, right? And that's another thing we fail at. And just life in general is like that. Anytime you're trying to go for something that you want, there's going to be failure involved, right? There's going to be many attempts. And, again, we fail to see that, especially with the people that we admire, right, and look up to. Those people have failed so many more times than, we even notice, right? We just see them in the spotlight and they're like, man, that's like an overnight success, when in fact it's not. There was a lot of failure behind the success that they have now, right? And it's all about tweaking and testing to see what works in life that can get us to those positions, right? And so that's the thing, is to not get discouraged, right? You might be aiming for something and you're working your hardest to get there, and again you fail, and it may be multiple times, right? Now, there's many stories throughout history with people failing, right, that actually achieve what they are trying to achieve, right? And so that's just one thing we have to remember, is that it's going to take multiple times to get to wherever we want to go. And there's actually a good book. It's called Obstacles in the Way, I believe. I don't remember who the author was. It's been a while since I've read that book. I actually need to read it again because it was a phenomenal book. But it goes into the fact that a lot of times, right, when we try to solve a problem, we go at it like head first, right? And what we fail to see is a lot of times when you do that is like one of the worst things you can do, because it's like the hardest way to get there, right? As opposed to looking for alternate ways to actually deal with it, right? And I think a good example that they had in the book was like, I think it was related along like martial arts or something, like taking someone head on, right? Someone may be a lot stronger than you, but if you can actually pivot your body in a way that you can leverage the other person, right? That they may be strong head on, but if you can leverage them and get at an angle, then you can actually, have the power to overtake them, right? And so that's just the thing, is to understand that you just have to look for where your leverage is, right? Yes, you may have failed, and it can be really discouraging. I know there are some things you work at a long time and it can just seem so discouraging, but if you just look at it from the right angle, look at it from a perspective that you can get leverage on it, right? Don't always look at it in the conventional way, right? A lot of people will just look at it in the conventional way and they follow X, Y, and Z, and then when they hit the wall, they realize, well, I executed X, Y, and Z, so it should have worked, right? And the thing to remember here also is that it's not going to work the same for everybody. Everybody is going to find success differently, right? They'll define success differently, and then they'll also find success differently. So if you can find your leverage, right, that's the biggest thing, is just finding your leverage to get that success, or to achieve that thing, whatever it is you're trying to get, that you keep seeming to, have failure in. Now, if there is something in life that, maybe you tried something out, you just wanted to see if it worked, and you're like, it's not really something I want to do, I don't really consider that failure, right? I consider something that you want and you are striving for. You've put a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of effort into it, and then you hit that wall, right? You hit it and you fail, and then you're discouraged, right? And you want to quit. And that's the time that I think really defines you is that thing that you really want, you're willing to just let it go, right? And that's what's the hardest thing, especially in life, right? We got to remember in life, like, life doesn't just give you what you want. Like, you have to go out and get it. And I've seen that multiple times in my life, to where, you know, I was working in that truck installation factory, and if I hadn't, you know, made the decision to go in the military, then my life could have been completely different. So failure is just a part of life, and we have to understand that you are going to fail, and you'll probably fail a lot before something actually starts working. But don't ever get discouraged, right? If something you really want to do, if something you feel that will change your life, right, or whatever it is, I don't know what that is for you, I know what it is for me, but for you, you really have to understand that and go out and get it, right? Don't feel like failure is an option, right? Or yes, you know failure's coming, but so be it. It's not really a failure until you actually throw in the towel and say, I don't want anything more to do with this, when this was your dream, right? This was something you wanted. So just remember that, and I hope this video really helps you just to know that, you know, failure is just a temporary setback. That's all it is. So if you guys did enjoy this video, hit that like button, and until next time, I will see you guys later.